welcome back to the second part of our presentation, the Cosmic Week. And if you haven't seen that first part of the presentation, just jump onto our YouTube channel, Country Living Ecology, where you can view that, that episode. So from some feedback I've got, we're not saying that 2027 or 2031 is going to be the definite date of Jesus' return. What we're saying is within this time period we'll start to see events which show us that the return is going to be around about this time period. So what I'm going to do today, first of all, is give a little bit of a disclaimer. So we're not setting a date per se. We're looking at the 6,000 years on Earth's history and the 1,000 years which, God has given us sufficient evidence to show us that we're pretty much living in the last days. So today I'm going to go into the Creation Week. We're going to be looking at the significance of the Creation Week, how that ties into the 6,000 years. So we have 6 days of creation, and we're going to go through this bit by bit, and we're going to show how this ties into the 6,000 years of the Cosmic Week. So I'm just going to remove this line here, and I'm going to put the Creation Week just up here. So I'm going to put here Creation Week. Alright, so to find the Creation Week, we'd have to go to Genesis chapter 1. So we're in Genesis chapter 1. And it says, in the beginning God created heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness called night. And the evening and morning was the first day. So on day one, we see here that God created light. Okay, so we're going to just mark off a period here. I'm going to call this day one, and this is light, right? But we notice that in this time period where God causes light to come, there is a division going on. So darkness was there first, and then comes light. And so we will see the same thing in this time period as well. That is at a time of darkness, and then there's a division which is caused by the light coming in. And so we know that light is the Word of God, because the Word of God is what is light, right? And the Bible tells us that in Psalms that the entrance of the Word of God gives light. And the evening and the morning was the first day. So first thing we see is a division, light and darkness, day and night, and they're very distinct from each other. Now if we carry on reading verse 6, it says, God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning was the second day. So on day 2, we see another division taking place here. So there's the waters above the firmament and the waters below the firmament. There's a division of waters. And so one division is called heaven, and the other division is below the waters. And so we see in day 2 here that there's a second division which is occurring, and this is a firmament which is heaven. Okay? So heaven comes to view here as part of the division. And this happens on the second day, on day number 2. On day number 3, we see here, and God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and he gathered together all the waters and called it sea, and God saw it was good. So day 3, there is a separation taking place here again. The separation now is the waters beneath, and there comes out of the separation the earth, and then there's also the sea, right? So the earth comes out, and the earth becomes a dry land. But notice also in day 3, and God said, let the earth bring forth fruit, the herb yielding seed, the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, herb yielding seed after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after its kind. And God saw it was good. So after each day, and verse 13 says, and the evening and the morning were the third day. So after each day, day number 3 now, we have earth. But it's a fruitful earth. Earth is now populated with trees. It's now become a fruitful earth. Okay, and this is important in that the fruitful earth now brings about plentiful food for those who are coming afterwards. And notice after each day, God says that it was good. Now, and God said, verse 14, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven, divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons, and for days and for years. And let these lights be in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made 2 great lights, greater light to rule the day, which we know is the sun, the lesser light to rule the night, and he made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, to rule the day and to rule over the night, to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. So day number 4, what we see here is another interesting thing. So it's the first light we see here created light and darkness, and now we have day and night. And we know that God made the stars also. So why this another separation of light and darkness here? Because this goes into a very particular into the days of night. It goes into the signs and seasons, and even for years as well, in days. So this is where the days start to be created. Before it was the evening and the morning on the first day there, and now we see that the week, the years, and the days are now being created in day number 4. All right, so let's go on a bit further, right? And it says, verse 18, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness, God saw it was good, and the evening and the morning was the 4th day. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly moving creatures that had life, and the fowls that fly above the earth in the open firmament. And God created whales, every living creature moveth upon the waters, brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the sea, and let fowl multiply on the earth. And the evening and the morning was the 5th day. So on day number 5, we see creatures, right? Creatures coming out of the sea, right? Living creatures in the sea. We also see them producing, but notice this is the first blessing that God pronounces here upon the creation. As we look through everything, even the trees and everything that bore for our food, God didn't produce a blessing upon them, but here the creatures in the sea and the fowls that fly in the air, now God pronounces a blessing upon them. We're just going to call these creatures, right? Creatures, land and sea are fowls are in the air and sea. Air and sea. And that was day number 5. On day number 6, we see here, it said the evening and the morning was the 5th day. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creatures after his kind, and the creeping thing, and the beast that creeped after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beast after his kind, and the cattle after his kind, and everything that creeped upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let us make man in our own image, after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, and over the cattle, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. God blessed them. God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowls of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, behold, I have given you, this is the diet now, every green, every herb bearing seed upon it, the face of the earth, every tree which has the fruit of the tree yielding seed, to you it shall be meat, to every beast of the earth, and every fowl of the air, and everything that creepeth on the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good, and the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So on day number 6, God made man, plus he made the land creatures. And notice that God pronounced a blessing upon them as well. So man and the land creatures here in day number 6, right? And day number 7, what did God make in day number 7? Let's find out. Genesis chapter 2. Thus the heaven and the earth was finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the 7th day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God had made, created and made. So on the 7th day, day number 7, we see God here. He rested. Okay? And notice from day number 3, right, so 1, 2, 3, from day number 3, we see a blessing upon everyone. Blessing upon the creatures of the sea, blessing upon the creatures of the land, blessing upon the people that God created. And he rested on day 7, and he also blessed day 7 as well. So there's something significant here about this time period. Blessings full. And so if we translate this down into our time period now, where we see that Christ came in the midst of that week, about 4,000 years, and we talked about that last week, about Christ coming in the midst of that week. We can see here that the blessings actually fall after Christ comes. And what Christ does, he recreates things. And so it's important that we talk about that rest at the end of it, right? Because this is one of the things that helps us to substantiate where we are in terms of our understanding of this cosmic week. The creation week gives us a sort of microcosm of what that cosmic week looks like. Because we know that these things, we believe that these things are going to be repeated. As it was in the end, so as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. These things are going to be repeated at the end of time. And so in the last 7 years of the cosmic week, we can see some of these events coming, all the events, all the time prophecies coming to fulfillment in that time again. Again, I just want to stipulate, we're not actually talking about specific time prophecies here, but we're talking about events, because we know that since 1844 there is no more time prophecies. And so I want you to come and join me next week as we're going to be talking about that 6 and 7, that rest day, and why is that important? Why the day of rest, the time of rest, even the 1,000 years of rest for the earth is important. So join me next week, and we will get more deeper into the Cosmic Week discussion. Thank you.